Filling in the gaps. You know that's impossible, right? Captain Weha was startled to hear another voice. It wasn't a member of her crew. They knew better than to interrupt her solitude. She pulled the camera away from her face and looked around, finding a young woman standing only a few meters away. "I'm sorry," the captain said to the stranger. Captain Weha had been wandering the planet she knew as Nahal Quizqui for hours. Like most other worlds she'd visited, this planet boasted no intelligent life. Such isolation offered a respite from the crowded Earth she'd left behind. There, she often felt disconnected from those around her, as if she were standing on a crowded tram where no one met her eyes. In worlds like this, she could rediscover her humanity, ironic in the absence of others. In the planet's vast garden, the captain encountered only robust plant life. She saw the movement of neither insects nor animals and heard no sound beyond her own footsteps. Yet somehow, this mysterious woman had managed to approach without being detected. The interloper's dark skin glistened in the afternoon sun, a sharp contrast to her bright dress. She reminded Captain Weha of a sunflower, its warm brown disk wreathed by vivid petals of bright yellow. "Don't be sorry. It's impossible, that's all," said the stranger. The captain lowered her camera and smiled. She wondered if this woman was the source of the mysterious message that had drawn her to this planet. "Do I know you?" The young woman extended her right foot. With her toe, she drew a semicircle on the ground. "No, I don't suppose you would," she said. Captain Weha scanned the garden, hoping to discover how the stranger had arrived. Plants and flowers surrounded them in every direction. Paths led to arbors dotting the horizon. The captain's glistening silver shuttle occupied one of many clearings. There were no other signs of approach, no other vessels in view. Except for their voices, only an unsettling stillness hung in the air. Captain Weha turned to the monolith behind her. On the closest side was the face of a clock. At least she thought of it as a clock. She recalled archaic time-keeping devices she'd seen in a museum long ago. Its unintelligible markings surrounded several indicators that emanated from the center. These had frozen in varied directions, their purpose elusive. Before the voice, she'd been taking photographs of the clock and its enigmatic obelisk. Recalling her purpose, she turned her attention to the camera. It was her favorite, a comfort in her hands. With it, she took two-dimensional photos, an anomaly in her time. She still preferred them, even if the rest of humanity had moved on to three-dimensional images. The young woman called to her. "Ignoring me isn't going to make me go away." Captain Weha turned again to the stranger. "What makes you think I want you to go away?" The young woman raised an eyebrow. "You do," she said. "If I did, how would you even know?" Captain Weha asked. "The same way I know it's impossible," said the woman. "You mentioned that before. What are you talking about?" the captain asked. "It's impossible for all the clocks to stop at once." Captain Weha felt a wave of coldness sweep through her. While taking photos of the alien clock, she had been thinking about that very thing. If it were a clock, it had stopped some time ago. How long that was, she didn't know. It could have stopped within a few hours, but she didn't expect that to be true. Days or weeks were more likely, but not as likely as years or perhaps even millennia. This stream of consciousness had led her to imagine all clocks stopping at once. "How did you know what I was thinking?" she asked. "That's the question, isn't it?" asked the stranger, a twinkle in her eye. Captain Weha's mind raced. Was there another question worth asking? When confronted with an unexpected someone, questions would not be in short supply. This person seemed able to read minds. Wouldn't that be the most important thing to understand? Of course it was, only Veronica Weha despised being limited in her choices. Like her life on Earth, it felt suffocating. She followed the obvious path reluctantly, but mostly not at all. Why is it impossible for all the clocks to stop at once? She finally asked. The young woman laughed. I guess you're right. It's not impossible. Let's say it's extraordinarily improbable. But even if it did happen, it wouldn't tell you that time had stopped. Clocks only mark time. They aren't actually linked to it somehow. The captain extended a hand toward the young woman. My name is Veronica Weha. I'm captain of the research vessel Tidrid. I just proved that I could read your mind, said the young woman. Do you really think you had to tell me your name? It was the captain's turn to laugh. I suppose not, but you understand how this works, right? I tell you my name, so you will tell me yours. The stranger accepted her hand. I am C.A.WynnSciFi. The young woman's skin was warm and comforting. Veronica Weha found herself reluctant to let go. Is that a family name? She asked. It's from an old Earth culture. It means to listen, to pay attention, said C.A.WynnSciFi. Finally releasing the young woman's hand, Veronica stepped back. It's nice. That's what we say, said C.A.WynnSciFi. We tell someone their name is nice, that we like it. We might say we knew someone with that name, or it reminds us of someone else. These things help us make connections. Veronica nodded. I suppose so. Even light years from Earth, we're still human. So, C.A.WynnSciFi, what brings you here to this garden, this planet? What has you so far from Earth, reading other people's minds? C.A.WynnSciFi dipped her head and averted her eyes. I can't really read your mind. It was just a guess. Like I said, my name means pay attention. You were looking at a stopped clock. I thought maybe your mind wandered to time stopping. Veronica smiled. Neat trick. So now I have to ask, why? C.A.WynnSciFi's face brightened. Why am I here? Why is there a clock in the garden? Why is the clock stopped? Which why did you want to ask? Veronica paused to consider each option. Why is there a stopped clock in the middle of a garden on a small planet orbiting Algenib Pegasi? C.A.WynnSciFi smiled broadly. That's cheating. You were expecting me to ask about you, said Veronica. Well, I already asked what brought you here. You didn't answer. Then I decided I didn't really care. C.A.WynnSciFi's head tilted back sharply. Oh, I think you care. It's just that you don't expect to get a straight answer, so you're taking a detour. That's perceptive, Veronica said. It's paying attention, C.A.WynnSciFi said. Veronica smiled. Well, you have answered one question. She pointed toward the characters arranged in a circle on the obelisk. This looks like a clock, but I wasn't sure. What else would it be? Asked C.A.WynnSciFi. Veronica's eyes narrowed. I have no idea. It's like many of the things in this garden, not quite what I expected. Really? Like what? C.A.WynnSciFi asked. Veronica crouched down and ran her hand over the surface. The grass, for example. It feels more like a low-pile carpet than something natural. C.A.WynnSciFi spun in place, her dress fanning out like the petals of a sunflower. I know! Isn't it wonderful? It's fresh and clean, soft and inviting. Veronica reached for a nearby plant. Running her hand up its stem, she stopped at the branch of a leaf. Her fingers played across its surface, tracing the veins. There, she discovered a texture similar to that of the grass. Why does it feel like a carpet instead of grass? She asked. C.A.WynnSciFi stopped spinning. Maybe grass just feels different here. Veronica searched the young woman's face. After several seconds, she forced a smile and rose to her feet. Veronica removed the lens cover and aimed the camera at C.A.WynnSciFi. Any idea where it came from? She asked as she snapped several photos. Where did what come from? Terror-Eye asked. Veronica moved slowly around Terror-Eye to capture the young woman at different angles. The garden, the clock, all of it. Terror-Eye shrugged. How should I know? I came here from Earth like you did. We both know that's a lie, said Veronica. Terror-Eye turned to stare into the camera. Veronica captured shot after shot of Terror-Eye's rapid shift from light-hearted to somber to angry. Why do you take pictures with that? Asked the young woman. Why not one of those hologram things? Veronica paused, pulling the camera from her face and inspecting it. Okay, I'll play along. I'll answer your questions if you answer mine. She lifted the camera and turned it slowly in the air. I take pictures with this because the truth is often a matter of perspective. The young woman's eyes widened with wonder. What do you mean by that? I mean that truth can be hidden, said Veronica. Sometimes we speak the truth without saying much at all. At other times, we can see things that appear true only to discover they are utterly false, as with you and your questions. You seem like a bright young woman from Earth, but you're not. Are you from here? Terror-Eye laughed bitterly. Are you so narcissistic that you imagine a being from across the galaxy would look something like you? Veronica shook her head. I'm not suggesting this is your natural form. Maybe, like the garden, you chose to make me more comfortable, but the truth lies somewhere behind it. The young woman looked down at herself. She raised an arm, scanning the skin, twisting it in the light. Breathing deeply, she shut her eyes and tilted her head back. She got up on her toes, allowing her head to loll to one side. There she held her ear up, as though listening for something. When she opened her eyes again, she trained them on the captain. Is truth important? She asked. Veronica aimed her camera again and stepped back to capture more of the garden. For me it is, she said. How can two-dimensional pictures be more truthful than three? Terror-Eye asked. Veronica shook her head. Oh no, it's your turn to answer a question. She pointed toward the clock. What about that? Why is it here? Why is it stopped? Terror-Eye closed her eyes tightly. It stopped because time stopped. Veronica nodded. Now we're getting somewhere. When did time stop? Terror-Eye laughed, her eyes opening wide. Do you realize how absurd that question is? Time is when. If it stops, there is no when. Veronica raised an eyebrow. I thought clocks only marked time. You were wondering about all clocks, said Terror-Eye. They're not all the same. How is this one different? Veronica asked. Terror-Eye pursed her lips and glared at Veronica. This clock is time. Veronica drew a deep breath and approached the obelisk. Her fingers touched the edge of the clock, outlining the symbols. What do they mean? You ask too many questions, said Terror-Eye. Turning back to Terror-Eye, Veronica smiled. You have yet to answer a single one honestly. What do you mean by that? Terror-Eye asked as she walked around Veronica. Veronica's eyes followed the young woman. You said there is no when without time. Then you told me this stop clock is time. One statement negates the other. If time is stopped, like this clock, there can be no when. I couldn't even ask these questions because the act of asking requires time. Terror-Eye stepped from place to place, pausing and adjusting her head at each point. Her movements resembled Veronica's while taking pictures, absent the camera. I could say the same about your answers, Terror-Eye said. Meaning? Asked Veronica. You said that truth was a matter of perspective, Terror-Eye said. I don't see anything different when I change my perspective. You're only changing your position, said Veronica. Perspective is more than just where you stand. It's how you think, what you feel. Terror-Eye pouted. So feelings determine truth? Veronica sighed deeply. Not really. Sometimes feelings reflect things that aren't true, like reacting to a lie. Truth itself doesn't require feelings, but it can inspire them. It's complicated. Veronica turned, putting her hand on the monolith to feel the sharp corner of it. This obelisk exists whether I believe in it or not, she continued. Even my ignorance of it doesn't affect it. Terrorized face lit up. If an obelisk falls in the forest but there's no one around to hear it, does it make a sound? She asked. Veronica smiled. Something like that. So I changed positions to capture latent qualities of the subject. Veronica crouched at the base of the obelisk. Looking up, she pointed. In a photo taken from down here, the stone seems to loom over me. Its dimensions haven't changed, but now it may seem oppressive. The clock might appear ominous. She stepped back from the obelisk. From here, a photo might be more functional, drained of emotion, of tension. Veronica stepped toward Terrorai. The young woman's eyes had grown large. Three-dimensional photos or holograms just present things as they are, Veronica continued. I am fascinated with interpretation, finding something new, something less obvious. Terrorai nodded. I understand now. Veronica placed a hand on the young woman's shoulder. It's my turn again. Why did you summon me here? Terrorai offered a fleeting smile before her face softened. It's a lie to say the clock is time. It's not all of time. It's my time, and it stopped long ago. Long ago? Veronica asked. Terrorai approached the obelisk. She reached for the clock, tracing the contours of the symbols. How does one measure time without time? So a minute, an hour, a lifetime, none of these things has any relevance here? Asked Veronica. For you, time still passes as it always has. Your hours measure something far away, the spinning of your home world. No matter where you go, they follow you. I can go no farther than here. My time has a different sort of hold on me. And the hands just stopped? Asked Veronica. Terrorai's fingers drifted slowly away from the face of the clock. I'm not certain I could explain it to you, she said. Veronica sensed something familiar rise inside her. It must be very lonely, she said. I have no words to make you understand how true that is, said Terrorai. Was loneliness the reason you invited me here? Asked Veronica. Not really, said Terrorai. I once thought I could banish loneliness with company. Terrorai turned and gestured to the vast garden. You are hardly the first. I've hosted many others in this garden. I still smell the wine from the last party, some 3,000 of your years stale. I still hear the conversations that once filled this air. What changed? Asked Veronica. At some point they all left, just as you will, said Terrorai. At some point they all faded away. I could no longer bear it. Veronica bit her lip. Despite this, you invited me here. I have something else you want. Terrorai approached the obelisk. She pressed herself against it, throwing her head back and her arms wide around it. I didn't know why at first, she said. You who cling to your two dimensions, your photographs, something in that intrigued me. Now I know there is far more to see here, far more to consider. Veronica neared the young woman. You don't have to discover these things alone. I will gladly stay for as long as you like. Terrorai shook her head. I'm finished saying goodbye to people I love. I don't dare let anyone get that close again. Veronica wrapped her arm around Terrorai's waist. She held on, nestling her head in the side of the young woman's neck. After several moments, Veronica backed away, tears wetting the corners of her eyes. I'd rather stay, she said. As her words hung unanswered, Veronica realized that she would receive no response. Terrorized stood motionless, her essence gone, as if the clock had reclaimed her. She was as still as the clock's hands, frozen in time or the absence of it. The young woman's skin was now cold to the touch, like the stone she leaned against. Veronica lifted the camera to her eye, adjusting her position to capture the essence of what she saw. Each time she prepared to snap a photo, her finger held fast. She could find no perspective that would do justice to the sadness or the strange beauty she saw. Veronica made her way back to her shuttle, pausing periodically to take in the scenery of the garden. With each glance toward the obelisk, Terrorized's upturned head and bright yellow dress increasingly resembled a sunflower. The mysterious young woman had become a solitary bloom among many. She was a point of beauty nestled in profound sadness. Captain Weha engaged the engines of her shuttle and began the ascent back to her ship. As the surface of Nahul Quizqui fell away, she reflected on Terrorized's despair. With this new perspective, she thought about all the goodbyes she hadn't said when she last left Earth. It made her wonder if there was still time for her to connect with those who mattered.